The whole reason I'm still racing and the reason I even got into racing was my dad. I mean, there's so many people I'd like to thank for getting me where I am today, but I'd say my dad is the main one. He's taught me so many lessons just about how to be strong and how to calm down in situations that may get tough. Me and my dad butt heads a lot, but I think it's just because we're so much alike. I'm like the female version of him, and I can't thank him enough for having the patience to work with me and letting me grow and develop into who I am today, and I continue to learn things from him. I mean, he taught me how to change like third members out. Granted, I'm not strong enough to lift them, but I mean, he helps me with that, but just understanding the basics of things and knowing that if you want something, you have to work for it. So that starts in the garage.
How long have you been racing yourself?
So I started off in flat karts. I did that for 5 years, and then this year I just finished up my 4th year in Northern Sport Modified. My dad got the opportunity from one of his longtime friends who had an old sport mod chassis laying out in their yard. I think he was kidding when he told me that we could try it. I didn't take it that way. I was like, oh man, a big car, I get to do all these things, it's gonna be great. And I mean, it is great, but there's a lot going into it, and I think I surprised him with that. I was like, Dad, I really wanna do this. Instead of going and wrenching on the car, which I knew nothing about, he made me go through a bin of old spare parts that were all greasy and grimy and tell him what the names of them were, tell him where they go on the car, what they do. I really just wanted to get in the car and I wanted it to be ready to go race, but I think him making me go through and spend the time to do all those things made me appreciate what I have.
Has your dad ever told you about the first time that you took off and kind of what he was thinking and how he was going to react?
The first time I got into a big car, I thought I was going fast. I wasn't going fast. So I don't think he was too concerned, but I think there was just this, we've talked about how even with my brother, it's just him and what he did when he was our ages and what he wishes he could have gotten into racing and like known about racing sooner, and just seeing that it's being passed down, I think makes him pretty proud. I know he does get worried when, you know, if cars get too close or just the first time starting. I remember one time this year, we actually went out to a track in the sport mod on a Sunday morning. It was pretty cold out and it had just rained a lot, so it was super muddy. But just learning how to drive the car and not the track was super fun with that. And he stood out on the track. When you got this big old race car coming at you, he stood out there and I mean, that really made me have to focus, but someone that has that much dedication is someone that I strive to be like. That's someone that I look up to. I know he'll stand in the infield of some tracks and he'll be wearing his neon yellow, and then he has like this bucket hat that's neon yellow, like a fisherman's cap, and it's got this fluorescent orange stripe on it. He looks like a safety cone, and I love him so much because I can see him. I can, if I'm ever unsure, I can just look over, you know, on a yellow light or something, and I see my dad out there, and it's just me and him. It's just him watching me. I hate saying this. I've always been Daddy's little girl, but when I put the helmet on, I'm his driver. I'm not a female driver. I'm not a little kid. I'm not just another number. I'm the person driving the car that he's working on. Him treating me like a driver and not his little girl makes me a stronger person, makes me understand differences that people go through with their struggles, whether that be their race, their gender, anything like that. It gives me a better understanding for that, and I feel like because of him, I'm stronger.
A few years back, you were in a pretty nasty wreck in an indoor race. And I know your mom had some lenient thoughts about whether or not you should continue racing. What were your dad's thoughts on that after the wreck?
He had to talk. He said honestly, he's like, if this isn't something you want to keep doing, if it's something that scares you, let me know. You're not forced to do this by any means. I think that those negative experiences, along with my dad pushing me to be strong, to lift my head up, to just brush the dirt off, you know, to stand on my 2 feet on my own, has really helped with later lessons that you learn in life. I mean, I still have a lot of learning to do, but like just working and paying bills, and I think being in those negative experiences have paved way for positive experiences. Those have paved way for higher finishes at the track, working harder, figuring different things out.
So you ever feel like you're racing for not just yourself, but you know, to make your dad proud or make your family proud?
I owe it to him, I feel like, to do my best, to do our team. You know, they work countless hours in the garage. They have a lot of patience with me. I mean, being a new driver and we're all kind of going at this the same, but I want to make my dad proud, and I think I am. I just want him to know how grateful and thankful I am for him, everything he's done. Every time I get in, it's what did Dad say about, okay, consistency or patience, or, you know, I just want to make him proud. I want him happy, and I know that he is. I can see him smiling or him jumping around on the stands. But yeah, I definitely race for my dad.